Video 6, End of Your World, Rise of HARJGTHEONE World Order. HARJ.com production, HARJGTWO.com production, UmbrellaWalk.org production, and HARJGTHEONE production. It's by HARJGTHEONE HARJGILL DBA, referred to as HARJGTHEONE, starring HARJGTHEONE, an authorized fiction of Freeman Harjgill and doing business as HARJGTHEONE DBA and HARJGTHEONE DBA. Dear slaves, dear Homo sapiens, dear masters, dear puppeteers, I am referred to as HARJGTHEONE. I'm a man, I'm a tortured child, I'm the witness, I am the Holy Grail, I am Jehovah, I am Waheguru, I am Noah, I am Yahweh, I am the judge, I am my one, I am the chosen one, I am reptile, I am immortal, I am your Lord, your God, your creator, your destroyer, and I am the leader of HARJGTHEONE World Order, a political organization to dominate the world. And also I am the leader and creator at the WHO Zone. It's HARJGTHEONE World Order Zone, an organization with a mandate to own and control all the assets of your world, and thus the owner of all the ass is it of the world. This video 6 discusses some of the key features or differences of A versus E. Remember, it was written into your English language: A, B, C, D, E, fuck, yes, H. G in Hindi is yes. The clues left by the Indians of India in the English language: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. There's more to the alphabet, but I will leave that to the subsequent video. The importance here is that the English language was created for the slaves so that they could fuck the E, and your world as you know would end when the E fucks H. Therefore you must come to understand why E fucks H. The Sikh religion says E does not fuck H, as did the streets of 79th Avenue in Delta, British Columbia. When E fucks H, the cleansing was to begin for the E. To understand why this is so, is to cleanse the E as H is T. I repeat, this is what was written thousands of years ago in code in the English language, the English alphabet. But there are others, such as the Sikh religion created 500 years ago, who, unhappy with the result of the English language, the English written for the white man, white woman for the Christians, and thus the Indians and brown men, who controlled the breeding for so long, had a different spin on the rise of H. See HARJGTHEONE for further explanation. The Sikh religion says E does not enter a T. H only enters the offspring once H enters a D. The H is to never enter an E according to the Sikh religion. And to rectify the deterioration of your species, the rise of H, HARJGTHEONE of HARJGTHEONE World Order, now means the HDE or HDA will not enter E. The world will thus forever be changed, as your guilt, dear Homo sapiens, is too great. It is obvious that the English language was originally created for the white population in the North. Thus, that would explain why Christianity, the Christian Bible, and the English language speaks of H fucking E, for the benefit of the white nations to cleanse itself after feeding on garbage generation after generation. As the white nations formed alliances with white Mongoloid Asians to maintain their whiteness, and thus left sun god creation, which the pagans had wanted the white man to focus on. They left the sun god creation, and that was the error. This explains why HARJGTHEONE is everything, Jehovah and Waheguru, as the truth is in between. The offspring of H can fuck E, so E does have a place in the new world order, HARJGTHEONE World Order, but a limited place. The question is that what stage will offspring of HDE, HDA fuck the E? To change a population to A's rather than E's will require no E to fuck HDE or HDA until balance is achieved in favor of A's. This video outlines briefly some key differences between A and E. Let's discuss these differences between E and A. The features for A and E differ throughout the entire body, from eyes, nose, ears, skin, colors, jaw structure, cheekbone, or bone structure. I'll discuss a few features in the video. The key is to understand that my role as the H of your alphabet is to provide balance, to be your God, your Lord, to ensure your species lives the truth and thus avoids unnecessary wars or bloodshed. Here are some key features of A's. My video clips highlight some A features. This discussion, dear Homo sapiens, is not new information. A good plastic surgeon can advise everybody on the basic truths already known. The issue is your species fails to follow the truth, and thus H has arrived on your planet. H is HARJGTHEONE. H is HARJGTHEONE World Order. With regards to the nose, which is a critical feature differentiating A from E, as is other features such as the hair, the nose has 7 key elements: the epicranius, the root bridge of the nose, the dorsum nasal, the alae of the nose, the apex of the nose, the philtrum, and the nares, or nostril. Notice when I breathe in through the nares, the nose, the nostril, the ala does not change shape. It's the lower part of your nose, of the front part of your nose. It's fixed with the apex, which is the top part of the nose, the front of the nose. This is an A feature. In E's, the ala may pull back and show more nostril when breathing. In E's, the ala may act separate from the apex of the nose. The ala should be flat for an A. The more cartilage or hard fat in the ala, the more E the ala is relative to an A. The nostril shape should not be round. Round is pig shape and is E. The nostril also should not contain a sharp nick at the apex, which should be rounded at the apex instead. The nick is an E trait. There's a minimum and maximum size nostril, and size of the nostril relative to the size of the nose or height of the nose also has ideal ratios. The more the nose nostril to height size varies from ideal ratios, the more E the nose is, as opposed to A. The size of the nose and the angle of the rise also has an ideal size and angle depending on the type and size of the head. The AA is ideally larger than smaller, meaning the ideal, sexy, hot, beautiful nose height is slightly towards the larger size than the smaller. The smaller nose is pretty but lacks hotness or sexiness relative to the taller nose. Of course, the danger is you can quickly get too large, and that is where the problem is. The species must stockpile smaller, medium-sized noses to quickly bring down the tall noses so they do not get too large or too tall. This is where the species has significant problems, as it is unable to stockpile quality specimens who will do the work necessary to bring the heights down. Hence the work is left to Mongoloid Asians or Mongoloid, or to E's. These are principally E's, which is a big no-no. As you add nasty Mongoloid genes into the picture unnecessarily, the white men and white women naturally, because they are white, attract to the white Asian Mongoloids to get the corrections, and this is a big problem, as they then must search for quality A's to clean themselves, and this is how Christianity was created and grew. The height and angle of the nose is based on a sliding A to E scale, and mine is just above medium in height relative to my face size, and thus an A characteristic, but should be mixed with a smaller nose to not get a higher nose for the offspring. Remember, children have small noses. They are pretty, but they become adults. And when they become adults, you want the adults to be sexy and hot. Remember, for a lot of the body characteristics, the A to E is a sliding scale rather than a sharp definitive between A and E. There are only certain features that are no sliding is permitted, as the E is obvious and no sliding variation is acceptable to A. When I smile with force, my upper gums do not show, just the top of my teeth. That is an A feature, as opposed to E, which would show more upper gums, because the jaw structure is too big. Of course, if you smile and no teeth show, that is also E. See, Mongoloids and Homo sapiens in general would just say that is a diversity. I say no, it's unacceptable diversity. If your teeth do not show at all when you smile, it's E. And if you smile and a large part of your upper gums show, that's also E. When I yawn, my nose does not flare or the ally does not change shape. These are A features. In E's, the nostrils flare considerably and the nose changes shape. The ally will flare and move away from the front of the nose. That is E. When I walk, I swing my arms, and my arms do not hyperextend backwards at the elbow. They bend slightly less than 180 degrees as they swing. They also do not bend laterally at the elbows. Also, because the proper inverse triangle shape my body with wide shoulders and small waist, when my arms swing, there's a noticeable gap between the hands and the hips as the arms swing. E's do not have the upside down triangular body shape. A has upside down triangular body shapes. E's are the rest with hips the same or larger than the shoulders. And of course, this characteristic has a sliding deviation from A to E. Do you understand? As you can see, this trait is not a Mongoloid gene trait. It is a trait of the species, that is E. Undesirable. It's unacceptable for breeding in large numbers. A few is okay, not billions, as you now have. Sliding scale has to favor A, not E for this characteristic. When I walk, my toes point straight in the direction of my walking and the heels walk straight when I walk backwards. A large percentage of the population walks with feet inward or outward. Both are E traits. A is straight. There cannot be much deviation from A here, and thus not much of this trait is a sliding scale. Understand? It's common for children to start walking with the toes and feet turned at an angle when feet turn inward, a tendency referred to as walking pigeon-toed. Doctors call it in-toeing. When feet point outward, it's called out-toeing. This can be largely corrected at an early stage so that the feet are straight to an extent. Eyelashes. Short or non-existent eyelashes that do not curl slightly upwards is A characteristic. E characteristic. Let me repeat, short or non-existent eyelashes that do not curl slightly upwards is E characteristic. Long eyelashes that curl slightly like mine is an A trait. Of course, this trait is sliding from A to E. My feet have straight toes. This is an A trait. Toes that curl significantly or have significant size differences from the large toe is an E trait. My back is an arch in the lower back. This is an A trait. Those backs that do not arch or overarch is an E trait. My rib cage is ideal. At the septum should be a concave structure so that the breasts sit higher than the mid-septum point. That is A. If the breast ribs are flat, in line with the septum, that chest is flat, that is an E trait. This trait in women permits women's breasts to appear and feel larger while maintaining firmness of the breast as the ribs are sitting higher than the septum, and hence the muscle is more raised. My teeth, the upper front teeth, sit just over top of the lower front teeth. There's no over or underbite. This is an A trait. E are overbite or underbite. Small deviations, of course, can be corrected at a young age. My cheekbones are visible but not too small or too large. There's an ideal size relative to the face. An E trait is large cheekbones. My upper eyelids show easily when staring straight ahead. That is an A trait. Those with no visible upper eyelids when they stare straight ahead is an E trait. The jaw should not protrude out or protrude towards the neck. This is the lower jaw. It should be significantly in line relative to the forehead and teeth. The line from the forehead to the upper teeth to the chin should be fairly straight, like mine, which thus is an A trait. Over protruding or under protruding is E traits. Again, there's a slight sliding scale for this trait, but not much of a sliding scale. The ear has ideal curves and has ideal shapes and curves, and lies flat against the head without touching the sides of the head. Normally the ear is C-shaped from helix to earlobe. Ideally the ear should not be a C that is too rounded. A flatter C is more ideal. Any significant variation from ideal is an E. Example, the ear is AAE if it's not the ideal shape. Understand? It varies from A to E. Ears with no earlobe are definitely a large E. Of course, variations are acceptable, but any significant variation is defined as E. When a large population has no or very little earlobe defined, this is definitely an E problem, as it is a significant variation. Let's discuss the nose cartilage or fat in the ala and round nostril, as this is a large determining factor in beauty. Only 10% of the population has a flat ala. All others have varying degrees too much cartilage fat in the ala. Depending on how you cut the cartilage to form lines in the upper nose dividing the apex from the ala, you can create diamonds that are viewed as very beautiful. Ideally, the ala should be flat or just slightly concave with only a little bit of cartilage or fat. This is an A. Others are E. There's a sliding scale from A to E here. The gap from the philtrum to the ala from a side view should not show the inside of the nose or show just barely the inside of the nose. This is an A trait. Any deviation showing a large gap is E. This is critical. There's very little room for error here. Hence you cannot have too many shapes in the sides of the ala, as it very quickly becomes unacceptable. Significant variance of the ala is not a good idea to create diversity in the species. The Mongoloids use such changes in the nose to create diversity. This must stop, as there is not much variation that is acceptable in this characteristic. Currently, the shape and size of the ala in the Homo sapiens is too varied, and thus too much garbage is present in the species. If you have cartilage fat in the ala, then there must be cartilage fat at the apex to offset the ala. A rounded apex with no defined cartilage, when at the same time there's significant cartilage or fat in the ala, is unacceptable. It is E. This is very important. This is a big problem for the species currently. With regard to the ala, ideally it should be flat or a slight concave shape. Any convex shape must be corrected, although the slightly, very slightly convex shape is still acceptable. My nose is A for the ala. Also, the angle of the ala, when viewed from the side, should, as it rises up, the philtrum should not go towards the bridge of the nose, as a gap will result and the nostril will show at the top, near the apex from a side view. This line should go straight up, or the line should move forward, up and forward. The nostril should never go right to the top of the apex. The nostril should stop so that the apex is cartilage. The nostril should round off at the top. A nick is not acceptable. The nostril size is known. For large nose or small nose, there is the right sized opening. You cannot have too small a nostril, as it is found in some Mongoloids, and the size of the nostril relative to the size of the nose is important. Most Mongoloids, Asians, and African Mongoloids have the maximum size nostril relative to nose size. Therefore, before you can raise the height of the nose, you must reduce the nostril size. That's where the problem starts, as there's not sufficient bases available to make this correction. The biggest problem facing the species is that the species does not have sufficient stockpiles of right bases they can use to correct all the unacceptable product that has been produced. Of course, the species must also accept the truths that I speak of, which to date your species has failed to accept. This is why HARJGTHEONE, your Lord, your God, is needed. Other issues which are obvious is to eliminate poor skins naturally, not through drugs. Just because science and medicine can correct all the deviations does not justify breeding the unacceptable product knowingly. When you have the ability to create equality, to limit suffering, then why create the unacceptable product anyways? Your only reason is that each feels you have the right to reproduce. You only have the right to reproduce if you do not terrorize others. And the truth is, after 30,000 years, your species always terrorizes. So you have lost that right. Your species does not have the right to breed as you desire because you terrorize. So is the future creation or evolution? The answer is both. You will create quality, and those that need to be corrected will be subject to evolution as determined by your Lord, your God, your Creator. Understand? Science and nanotechnology can, through genetic engineering, make the corrections needed in the future, but that should only be done after a natural process is instigated by the species, because there's no end to the possibilities offered by science. All that will happen is the hybrids will take over another battle, and cleansing will be required to determine which hybrids are acceptable and which are not. The solution lies in the species breeding properly through natural means and then using science to enhance in a controlled manner. By using natural means, you can also eliminate or control the existing brain disease virus that infects your species. The blacks have the dark crinked curls, which are needed, a must. The white and white Asians hold the light weight, dark straight hair. The sun god is in the middle. Your species has been involved in theft, trying to steal quality genes. The problem is that your species must, in a cooperative way, create quality bases and then in a non-terrorist manner mix the genes. Understand? The truth is to maintain curls in a large percentage of the species. Curls is A. Here are some news on developments of technology that is now being released publicly to the species by the highest level secret societies. This news is of June 23, 2014. It's headlined, How Will Nanotechnology Revolutionize Medicine? It's by Trace Domacuse. The article begins by saying, over the past 40 years, giant leaps have been made in the field of nanotechnology. Ask, what is nanotech and what is the future of it? Scientists are building tiny microscopic motors. And the issue is, can the artificial photosynthesis work? In the last 40 years, research and development into the field of nanotechnology has been slowly moving forward. Recent studies have sped things up considerably. Earlier this year, researchers from Northwestern University were able to successfully recreate a molecular pump, which is a method of moving ions across the cell membranes that's used in nature in a number of different ways. The synthetic pump uses a dumbbell-shaped molecule and a set of positively charged molecular rings. The rings have opposite charges, so they repel each other. This solves one of the biggest obstacles scientists have faced with nanotechnology. Finding a way to power these microscopic creations thus could be the breakthrough that scientists have needed. In 2004, scientists at New York University created a nanobot that walks on 10 nanometer long legs. Imagine a nanobot walking along a strand of DNA, fixing potential genetic disorders or mutations. Researchers envision this as the beginnings of a nanobot conveyor belt for nanoassembly. It may soon sound like science fiction, but a study in the future of nanomaterials predicted that we're only 10 to 20 years away from being able to create a nano-sized factory that would be capable of doing this. That was the brief excerpt of the article found in testtube.com, DNEWS News. Dear Homo sapiens, the use of technology without accepting the truths of your Lord, your God, your Creator, HARJGTHEONE, will result in more future battles to determine which hybrid genes is given to whom. So now let's discuss the color of the skin. Again, your species must accept the truth. The truth is in the sun god, the sun goddess, the light golden, brownish yellow skin with light golden, brownish yellow blonde hair. This is the truth, dear Homo sapiens. This issue is to create a species around a bell curve. That's the issue. The species must create a population around a bell curve which supports the truth of the sun gods and sun goddesses. The bulk of the species should vary only slightly from these colors, and the population drops off at the edges quickly as the color gets too light or too dark from the standard. At the same time, you must recognize that dark black and white bases must be stockpiled without overbreeding. They also represent diversity, but they're also necessary, especially the dark black. Let's look at the standard bell curve, where 68.26% of the population would be near sun gods, sun goddesses, basically A's, as opposed to currently your population is 70 to 90% Mongoloids. Remember, an E can be Caucasian if it varies considerably from ideal. In the bell curve, 28% can be diversity from sun god, but still A's. Then there's 4.28%, which is 2.14% white, and 2.14% black, containing E. This is a better distribution for your species. As you can see, this basically crushes the E versus the A. Your population, the bulk of your population, will thus be A. And that is why your species has been in battle for thousands of years. The truth does not support your species' habits. Your Lord, your God, your Creator is required to determine which bases will be stockpiled and how much to ensure an adequate supply from the bases to create acceptable diversity through breeding activities. The bases need to be stockpiled to ensure that the quality created from breeding can be repaired or enhanced using the bases when needed. This requires the species to be responsible and accept their designated roles and understand their karma and plan as they are mixed. Yes, a few can be mixed just for the sake of the fun. This is from Wikipedia.org. Some information on Mongoloid. The Mongoloid race has the widest geographic distribution, including all of the Americas, Siberia, East Asia, and Southeast Asia, the entire inhabited Arctic, while they form most of Central Asia and Pacific Islands and significant parts of South Asia. However, there are exceptions on the other continents, such as the countries of Turkey, Finland, Estonia, Hungary, and Madagascar. So the Mongoloids represent a significant population worldwide. So another topic, the topic of breeding the penis size. It's very important. Let's discuss penis size, though, from a different angle. It is more important for women to have the right size vagina length and vagina opening. This ensures that the right size penis can also be developed. Any significant variation must be limited in quantity, as it will cause sexual dissatisfaction. breeding the right vagina size, vagina length, and opening sizes to ensure that a good sized penis is a tight fit. The species' desire for big men and women results in a demand for big penises, and these larger, bigger women end up having a larger vagina opening and vagina length. Oh, by the way, I have the right penis size, just right. The species needs to build the holes of women smaller, and thus men with the right size penises will be just perfect, not too large to cause discomfort. There's no need to breed large numbers of 8 to 9 inch penises just to satisfy a large woman with large holes, as the species needs to develop smaller vaginas with smaller holes. Of course, a few 8 to 9 inch penises can be created for fun, with the recognition of the damage they can cause if they are permitted to breed in large numbers. Truth must be maintained and balance must be maintained, so the species will not begin to its habit of terrorist behavior. The ideal shoulder to waist shape is known, dear Homo sapiens. Let's discuss this briefly. This is from menshealth.com. Fitness, muscle building, strategy, V-shaped torso. This is quoted from them. To build the perfect body, it helps to have the right dimensions. Thankfully, the magic formula for these dimensions has been known for centuries. It's called the golden ratio, a dividend of two measurements that's roughly equal to 1.618. Its influence can be seen in the shape of seashell, the spirals of pinecone, and the Parthenon in Athens, and in blueprints for the archetypal human form. Leonardo da Vinci, Vitruvian Man, and Michelangelo's David. In fact, whether you're looking at art or nature, you'll find this ideal proportion turning up everywhere. So it's no surprise to learn that ladies dig a physique that measures up to the golden ratio. Archives of Sexual Behavior study reveals that women are most attracted to muscular men whose shoulders measure 1.6 times the size of their waists. Dear Homo sapiens, I have the 1.6 ratio from my shoulders to my waist. This is considered A. Ideal heights are also known, which can be seen from the mathematical clues. To be in the family is the 5. The 5 is needed. So height of 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", that's the family, is a 5. 5'11", 5'10", ideal. If you're 6 feet, you begin to need to act like a 6 to breed, 666, the evil 666, or to have a lot of sex. If you get any taller, over 6 feet, and get to 7 feet, then you are a 7, meaning you fucking do anything as you are the 7. That's what you have to do, and that's why the right size for males is 5'10", 5'11". For women, the right size is 5'4", 5'6", because the family is thus giving you 2 children with a 5'4" and 4 children with a 5'6". Of course, both women and men can be 5'10", 5'11", but then if you're interested in creating bases in large quantities, you would breed with 5'4", 5'6" males with a woman that is 5'10", 5'11". This is not psychologically desirable for women to breed with significantly shorter men, and thus you must limit the production that 5'10", 5'11" women create if they breed with taller men, to ensure the bell curve is not skewed, creating problems with breeding in the long term. A 5'10", 5'11" woman should breed with the same height or smaller men to limit the production of 2 tall men and 2 tall women. As you can see, the math tells you the height limitations. The truth has always been known. The species' desire for fiction and using the commercial world to justify creating and promoting sports which favor large men and women is not desirable. Hence, those in the sweet spot of size can breed more children, those not in the sweet spot breed less. Now, the topic on every man's mind is female breast size. Dear Homo sapiens, let's look at some data. The average national bra size has increased by 3 cup sizes over the last 30 years, according to a new study by Intimacy. The lingerie retailer reported a bulging 34DD average today. This compares to the 34B bra size average in 1983. This is from dailymail.co.uk. Also, in fact, government surveys have found that over the past 40 years, the average waist size for women in the U.S. has increased 23% from 30 inches to 37 inches. The average waist size for men has increased 11.4% from 35 inches to 39 inches. Dear Homo sapiens, what's happening is the market wants larger breasts, but you're creating bigger women and men, which is not healthy, as the waist ratio is climbing. Meaning you are creating larger women with bigger breasts, most of them too heavy or too fat. A correction is necessary. You need the C or D breasts, but the woman must be lighter, thinner females. The absolutely gorgeous Cheryl Tiegs appears from the math presented to be an 11 or close to 11. So why is the species moving away from the obvious truth? She has a small waist, 34C chest. Cheryl Ray Tiegs. So let's discuss the ideal waist to height, also known as research correlates improved health for those with the right height to waist sizes. Do note that these measurements are based on your species, which is 70 to 90% unacceptable for breeding purposes. Ideally, the men to be A should have no larger than 32-inch waists. Mine is 28 to 29 inches. And women should have no larger than 26-inch waists to be classified as A, ideally 22 to 25 inches for heights of 5'11". Of course, this measurement has a sliding scale from A to E. However, under the guidelines of the International Diabetes Federation, a normal waistline for a woman is 32 inches or less, and for a man is 38 inches or less. Many doctors are even more stringent, recommending a target of 30 inches or less for a woman and 35 inches for a man. Dear Homo sapiens, recognize and accept the truths of the A versus the E, and also recognize that your species has been creating fictional religions and fictional gods to justify your breeding habits. The truth is to rise now. The truth is to rise. Should your species be permitted to delay the Mayan cyclical cleansing forever and just permit the species to breed as it likes? That's the question. Your species has evolved through cyclical cleansing every 5,000 to 8,000 years. There's a need for the rise of the H. HARJGTHEONE is HARJGTHEONE World Order. Who is HARJGTHEONE World Order in abbreviation or short form? Who? This is because your 5,000 to 8,000 year cyclical cleansing is not very efficient nor effective. That is why who is needed. HARJGTHEONE World Order. A real change is needed, unlike the cyclical cleansing of the past, and thus a new way for the species to breed. The old way of cyclical cleansing has not worked. I understand your species hopes you can use technology to fix yourselves, for example the use of nanotechnology or other technology to walk the DNA in each of you and just change and fix and enhance the DNA, remove the E components and replace with A components is your solution. Then of course you will all be right, not left. But the issue is, how does one remove the virus that makes you do what you do? And then, since there will still be some unacceptable diversity, how will your hunger be controlled? Will you continue to terrorize? You feared change, a change from your old ways. Consider this point. Unless you are all identical, there will always be a desire by your species to compete for the best.
This is why your species is violent and continues its terrorism cycle after cycle. Your greed and hunger never ends, and when you repair and enhance your malignant DNAs, will you still be a Homo sapien? Or instead a hybrid? Of course you will change to become hybrids. Do you understand why your very activities will result in the rise of hybrids and the rise of the machines? And of course, who will get the bonus genes, the special Superman features? Thus the battle will begin again, resulting in another long cycle, another cleansing required. Without your Lord, your God, your creator of the 14th family, without HARJGTHEONE World Order, you will repeat history, dear Homo sapiens. That is why, dear Homo sapiens, the long cycle will require a cleansing to control and rid your species of the mental virus, to control or eliminate the mental disease you suffer from, which will be very difficult to remove through nanotechnology. Hence a new family is to be built, the 14th family, to replace your species. And yes, the family will be part hybrid, but you will have your Lord, your God, your Creator control the species. As I know the sun god and sun goddesses that will be created may suffer from uncontrolled egos. Dear Homo sapiens, by delaying my rise, you gambled away all your rights as you opposed the truth in favor of your fiction. You favored your fictional religions rather than the truth. So why have the Homo sapiens gambled away its right to control its fictional world, gambled away all the assets of the world? Why would you do that? Well, because the species gambled that just needed time, that all you needed is time. And with time you could control the breeding of the assets that you could create, and thus could control the assets. If you delayed the rise of Harj sapiens, thought you could correct your insane problems. The truth is known, hence it was decided thousands of years ago that God would be required to lead, to judge, to decide your fates, your karmas, your paths. Your Lord would be needed as your species favors the pleasures over the truth. This is why the rise of H was planned, set into your English language thousands of years ago, set into your religions, set into your streets. I end the video with a brief discussion of the nature of the abuse you rendered against my unauthorized fiction, HARJGTHEONE over my lifetime. You spent every month, every year, creating reasons why you could justify the delay of my rise, and the extent of how insane you were can be showcased by your conduct with regards to wearing sandals. In my teens, in my young adult years, and in my current years as a homeless man, I've come to realize the ongoing repetition of your tests, your insane games. When I wore sandals as a child, even now when I wear socks with them, this was enough cause for you to justify delay and punishing me. As you, dear Homo sapiens, consider the truth that one wears no socks with sandals, and that is your fashion, your fiction that you consider right. And I usually wore socks with my sandals. You are wrong, dear Homo sapiens. I found that wearing no socks resulted in sweating under the straps in hot days, resulted in debris being caught under the straps and causing irritation. I found if one wore socks, the feet remained dry, there's no irritation. And so as a child, as a young adult, even now I wear socks with sandals most of the time, unless I am in or near water. Dear Homo sapiens, your guilt is known as you use the sandals game, time after time, always as a last resort when I was not failing at any other fictional truths, or if I was past your other tests. And thus you always found a reason to continue the delays. Your species will be judged accordingly. Your guilt is known. You spent a lifetime entrapping me, which is a criminal offense under your own laws. You set up situations and claimed I failed when I had or did not fail. My next videos will discuss this in more detail, as many of you claim I have not given you the details.
Dear slaves, dear Homo sapiens, dear masters, dear puppeteers, I am referred to as HARJGTHEONE. I'm a man, I'm a tortured child, I'm the witness, I'm the Holy Grail, I am Jehovah, I am Waheguru, I am Noah, I am Yahweh, I am the Judge, I am my one, I am the Chosen One,
I am reptile. I am immortal. I am your Lord, your God, your Creator, your Destroyer, and I am the leader of HARJGTHEONE World Order, a political organization to dominate the world, and also I am the leader and creator at the WHO Zone, HARJGTHEONE World Order Zone, an organization with a mandate to own and control all the assets of your world, and thus the owner of all the assets of the world.